So today we're looking at the practice problems for Lesson 6, which are referencing subtracting rational numbers. Our first set of problems here, it says to write a sentence to answer each question. Okay, so when we look at these, we want to, first of all, know the answer to the question before you can put it into a sentence. So we're looking at the ending, where they're ending up, and it's saying how much warmer is this than the original 40. Okay, so if we know that the original is our 40 and it's asking us how much warmer it is, we're going to start with the 82. And we're going to subtract 40. And 80 minus 40 I know is 40, but it's 82 minus 40, so that of course would be 42 as our answer. But it did ask us to write a sentence. So I would say that 82 is 42 degrees warmer than 40, which is our starting. So if you take a look at this, we took 82 is, there that is, than 40 is over here, and we just, took the 42 degrees, and we knew it was warmer because it told us that there. So let's look at the next one, and we need to do the next one in the same way that we did the last one. So we're going to have 82. How much warmer is 82 than negative 40? So now we're subtracting, but we're subtracting negative 40 instead of positive 40. So we get to do the math cha-cha-cha because we're subtracting. And of course we, know how much fun that can be. So here we go. Stay, change, change, cha-cha-cha. Don't forget to cha-cha-cha so you don't get it wrong. So now I've got two positive numbers. The signs are the same. Find the sum. So we, of course, very simply need to add these together. So 82 plus 40, well, 80 plus 40 is 120, but it's 82, so that would make it 122. So I'm going to use that to make my sentence. And just like I did up here when I used my sentence, the words in the original question to rewrite and make my sentence, I'm going to do the same thing here. And I'm simply going to say that 82 is 122 degrees warmer than negative 40. So you can see how the two answers here are very similar to each other, but the big difference here was that the numbers that we started with were different. Well, the 82 wasn't, but we had positive 40 versus negative 40. Next, what is the difference in height between 30 meters up a cliff and 87 meters up a cliff? So remember, when we're talking about difference, the difference can be positive or negative, while the distance, which is the second part of our question, is always positive. The difference will tell us, the positive or negative, that direction that we're looking at. So we're finding out what is the difference between 30 meters up a cliff, so that means it's positive 30, and 87 meters up. The difference, that of course means I'm subtracting positive 30 minus 87. Oh, I get to sing. Stay, change, change, cha-cha-cha. Now, of course, the signs are the same. Find the sum. They are not. If the signs are different, find the difference. That's what we have here. So, of course, we now go directly to the absolute value of both of these numbers. Remember, absolute value is always a distance. How far is 30 away from 0? Well, of course, that's 30. How far is 87, negative 87 away from 0? That, of course, is 87. I'm finding the difference. That means I get to subtract 87 minus 30. Well, 80 minus 30, of course, is 50, but it's 87, so that would be 57. And now I go back to my problem here before I took the absolute values, and I say which one of these, 30 or 87, is larger. Of course, it's 87, which means I take the sign from my negative 87, so that would make the answer negative 57. Okay, so that's the difference, just to be very, very clear. This is the difference here. That's what this is here. And now I'm looking at the distance. Well, we already know how far apart the two of them are because we got that in our negative 57. But to accurately identify the distance, I know is positive. So I'm really just going to take that negative 57 and then find its absolute value. And that's going to give me the distance. How far away is negative 57 from 0? That, of course, is 57. So my two answers both share the same absolute value, but they are different. So again, the difference right here is negative 57, and my distance is positive 57, or just 57. Okay, so again, same process. What is the difference in the height between an albatross flying at 100 meters above the surface of the ocean and a shark swimming 30 meters below the surface of the ocean? So the difference in height. So the albatross is up here at 100 meters above the surface of the ocean. We're looking for the difference. I'm going to subtract. The shark is 30 meters below, so that's negative 30. Stay, change, change, cha-cha-cha. So fun every time. 100 plus 30, that's very easy. The answer is 130 because the signs are the same. We find the sum. So right here, this is the difference. Is 130 meters. Oh goodness, I didn't put in my labels at that one above. Better go back up and do that right now. Sorry about that, but it's back there now. Okay, so the difference is 130 meters, and then just like before, I'm going to take that in order to find the distance, which is always positive. I'm going to find the absolute value of that 130. Oh, distance, always positive. So it was positive to begin with, but its absolute value still is 130 meters. So in this particular case, the difference and the distance are the same, but the first one was not. Okay, now we're finding each difference, which we've already been doing. So first of all, I'm subtracting every time, so I get to sing. This is fun. Stay, change, change, cha-cha-cha. Remember, I cha-cha'd first. Okay, now I get to see that the signs are the same. Find the sum. Find the absolute values of both first. The absolute value of negative 5 is 5 because that's how far away it is from 0. The absolute value of negative 6 is 6 because that's how far it is from 0. I'm finding the sum, so I add those together. 5 plus 6 is 11. They were both negative to begin with. That's why I got to find the sum. So my final answer is also negative. Next one, exactly the same. Well, same but different, same process. So I get to stay, change, change. Uh-oh, let me go back and fix that. This is not 30, it's 35. Sorry about that. So stay, change, change, cha-cha-cha. And then the signs are the same. Find the sum. You probably already knew that because I'm just looking at two positive numbers, but just so that we can continue to apply the same rules. 35 plus 8. Okay, well, I know that 35 plus 10, which 8 is very close to, would be 45, but is 8 actually less than, it's 2 less than 10, so it's not 45, it would therefore be 43. And both of those are positive, so it's positive 43. Okay, next. Fractions are our friends. Here they are. Okay, so we already have our least common multiple is 5. We didn't have to find the improper fractions. So we're going to go straight to this, that the least common multiple we know is 5. They already are 5, so we know it's 2/5 minus 3/5. I ignore the the denominators. I'm just going to deal with my numerators for now. So now I've got 2 minus 3. Stay, change, change, cha-cha-cha. Then the signs are different. Find the difference. We need to find the absolute value of both of these. Absolute value of 2 and the absolute value of negative 3. I know the absolute value of 2 is 2. The absolute value of negative 3 is 3. The signs were different, so I'm finding the difference. So I've got 3 minus 2 equals 1. And then, of course, I go straight to the absolute value that was larger is right here is my 3. So therefore, I'm going to use that negative sign in my answer. So that's negative 1. Oops, sorry about that. Negative 1. I'm going to bring that right down. Negative 1 is the numerator. The denominator stayed the same, which is 5. And there's my final answer, negative 1/5. Mixed numbers. Okay, well, the first thing we get to do, don't forget we are using, of course, I love eating apples and avocados. Yummy. I is for my improper fractions. So let's change those over here to the improper fractions. So 8 times 4 is 32, plus 3 more is 35. So I'm going to have negative 35 eighths minus negative 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 more is 5/4. Okay, I get to continue on with my loving to eat apples and avocados. So I need the least common multiple of 8 and 4. So the least common multiple of 8 and 4. So what's the smallest number that 8 is a gazillion of and 4 is a gazillion of? That, of course, would be 8. Least common multiple is 8. So I bring that right down here. I know that I'm going to keep all my signs for now, okay? So I've got negative something over 8 minus negative something over 8. Okay, well, my first one, this is easy. 8 to 8, I don't get to do anything to that. So it remains the same at 35. So it's negative 35 minus, well, how do I get from 4 to 8? Hopefully you remember that 4 times 2 gives us 8. So therefore 5 times 2 gives us 10. So now I'm going to take everything that's happening with my numerators and move it on up to my next box. So that gives me negative 35 minus negative 10. There's a 10 there. Sorry, I kind of ran out of room. So I get to stay, change, change, cha-cha-cha. And then, of course, the signs are different. Find the difference. So finding the difference. Negative 35, the absolute value of that would be 35, because that's how far it is from 0. The absolute value of 10, of course, is 10, because that's how far it is from 0. So I'm going to end up with 35 minus 10. That gives me 25. The larger absolute value, of course, is 35 right here. So that means I need to take that sign, which is negative. And now I can drop that right down. So I'm going to end up with negative 25 over 8 is my answer, which they don't share gazinta. You can leave it like that, or you can reduce it and say to yourself, how many times does 8 go into 25? Hopefully you know that that's 3 times, with 1 left over, so your final answer is -3 1/8.